Hey everyone, Irene Lyon here. Welcome to this entire world of nervous system health and healing. Today I want to do a bit of an origin story. I don't think I've ever done this before here on my channels, but I talk about this a lot when I am interviewed on other people's podcasts. And so I'm gonna just give you a little peek into the creation, the reason why I brought my work into the online space and sort of how it happened in many ways. And I even have props to share as we get into this. So first of all, thank you for being here. If you're very, very new to me, you may not know anything about me. Quickly, I am a Feldenkrais practitioner, a somatic experiencing practitioner. I am trained to work with all sorts of traumas at the body level via the work of Kathy Kane and Stephen Terrell. For some of you, these names mean nothing, but for some of you, you may know these names. These are really some of the leaders, the pioneers within the space of somatic healing at the nervous system body level. Now, before all of this, I was trained in exercise science, nutrition, applied human nutrition, sports nutrition, rehabilitation sciences, biomedical sciences. I have 2 degrees, one a bachelor's and one is a master's in research. All that info is on my site and you can see all those pieces as well as my thesis we have linked up there. So I've been in this world of health and healing and working with people for a very long time, since about 1997. And I was in private practice really quite deep and intense in around 2011 to 2014, 15, and even into 16, 17. But around let's say it would have been about 2011-ish, I started to realize that what was so important when I was in private practice doing all these methodologies with my clients is I was having to educate them a ton on what their nervous system is, what neuroplasticity is, what a survival response is, what sympathetic is, what parasympathetic is, and all the branches, and what's going on in their body. And I would be sitting with them in our time together for an hour. Part of that would be teaching the same thing over and over again. So the first thing I did to shift that so it was more time and cost effective for them is I created a 3-hour presentation. People actually came to my office, my studio, and we crammed in people. We had snacks and all sorts of things, and I would teach via slide on the wall, all the things. And that was called the Biology of Stress seminars. For those of you who have done my online programs, you know that the core piece of education within both the 21-day nervous system tune-up and SmartBody SmartMind, which I'm going to talk a bit more today to you about, that is the core piece of education in both those online courses, is the Biology of Stress video training series. It's a 5-part series. So that originated in person. Long story short, got that into a version that we can have online on a video where I'm talking and teaching. Now, the other thing that I was doing with my clients, I really call them students, got that from the Feldenkrais world, my students, because they're learning, I would do audio exercises, record them, send them home with these things in CD format. This is how old this was or is. And just for an example, one of these is the potent posture lesson, which some of you know of. The other is connecting the head and pelvis and balancing the back. These are more Feldenkraisian lessons because at that time, I hadn't yet completed all of my training within the world of somatic experiencing and somatic practice. So those other elements were quite new to me. But over time, I started to realize, hey, I can record my voice, put it on a CD or an MP3, send it to my students, and they can practice multiple times a week. And so the main thing that I realized, while one-on-one work I do believe can be very potent and important, and I recommend it when the time is right, when there is a long portion of foundation building, a long portion of learning, of education, psychoeducation, practices that a person is doing, not just when they're with me for that hour, but every day, little times of the day, different times of the day, when they're stressed, when they're not stressed, when they have time, all these things. By doing this work through these homework exercises consistently, it gave them not only the capacity to practice more, but it put it back into their own hands. They had the power to start to learn how to become their own medicine, as I like to say. So what occurred was it became very clear when I was working with folks that we need to go fully online and create an entire curriculum so that someone where I live or someone on the other side of the world could do this learning, these practices, without me guiding them piecemeal, one by one. It just wasn't cost or time effective for either of us to be doing that, right? So SmartBody SmartMind was the first program that I created. It started as a 5-week program, and then it was an 8-week program, and now it's 12 weeks. I'm pretty sure it's going to stay that way. We run it live, usually once a year, but if you're watching this when I release this in August 2022, we're running a second round, a bonus round this year in September. Registration opens on the 13th of September, and it'll be open for about a week until the 19th. And then it's go time. We're going to go into this program live. Of course, everything is recorded from the educational point of view, the practical point of view, but I am in there on Zoom, of course, teaching. Every week we have Q&As with one of my colleagues. My husband Seth does the Q&As. We have moderation from amazing practitioners all around the world, all trained in somatic experiencing. So there's an opportunity to have dialogue and conversation with these experts. Now, the other thing that is, let's just say, different from SmartBody SmartMind compared to some of the other programs that I see that are kind of floating around, we're not just focusing on one part of the brain. We're not just training or rewiring or retraining one thing. We're working with the entirety of the body. Think my background in the health sciences and Feldenkrais and in movement and in teaching group class, and of course in somatic experiencing and somatic practice, has led me into this perfect place where I can blend all of these essential elements that we need to help restore resiliency, regulation, and just self-healing to the body. So I'm not going to go into how SmartBody SmartMind works in this video. I'm going to do another one in a couple of weeks that I will obviously have here on this channel. But just kind of to go back to why I decided to do this, it was so clear that a person, a client, a student, you can do so much with just a little bit of guidance, deep dive, non-dumbed down education that is so important. I did another video on why non-dumbed down education is essential. I'm gonna post that near here so you can watch that. I really recommend you watch that video. And then also these practices, we have to practice with the body. It isn't just about working with the thoughts or the mind or the vagus nerve, although we do work with the vagus nerve in SmartBody SmartMind. It's about restoring full function and capacity to the whole organism using the body, the mind, the environment, and bringing it all together. To date, we've had people in over 90 countries, 90 countries, go through these two programs that I mentioned, both the SBSM, SmartBody SmartMind, and my 21-day nervous system tune-up. And the overall consensus that I get from folks is, A, why didn't I know this information sooner? And really the answer is we're still new in this world of healing at this somatic level and changing the pathways in the neurochemistry, in the neurobiology, in the somatic physiology. It's so new. It's so new. If we think about the fact that Peter Levine and Dr. Feldenkrais were some of the first people to land on this stuff, that's not that long ago, right? Peter's still alive. So it's new. Another thing that people often say is, now that I have this information on board and I'm doing it, I have better capacity to do one-on-one work, to go to a yoga class, to see an acupuncturist, to go salsa dancing or have body work or whatever it might be. And the reason why is because that person is now connected and understands how their body is working, right? It's not enough anymore for us to just live in the natural world and disconnect from this technology for us to heal. And the reason why, and this is something I talk about a lot on the podcast that I'm on, we aren't in a natural world. We've been conditioned, we've been socialized, we have been taught to hold so much stuff in, and we can do it because of our higher brain. We're very, very clever as human animals, beings, whatever you want to call us, right? We have mammalian physiology, and then we have this higher brain that we are still trying to figure out how it works and really where it came from. And so when you blend these two things together, the physiology and this higher brain, and then we have the way that we now live, and we all live kind of differently, we're raised differently, we got a bit of a conundrum, and we have to learn how this system works so that when things start to come through and up within our healing process, we know exactly what's happening, we know how to take charge, and we know how to do the right things so that we don't trap that stuff inside more. I'm going to dive into how this works, like I said, in the next video. But that is an overview of A, why I decided to create SmartBody SmartMind, and B, sort of how it got created. It wasn't just me deciding to do it. It was a slow progression over many years, adding slowly as I learned more to the curriculum. The curriculum is growing by the year. We're always refining and changing and tweaking things and adding things based on feedback from our participants, and also what's shifting and changing in the somatic nervous system new traumatology world, which is what we call it. So just a reminder, again, we will be doing SmartBody SmartMind in September 2022. Registration will open on the 13th of September. We'll only have that open for 1 week, very short window this time, because we want to get started so that we finish by Christmas time, by end of year. If you haven't looked at the information page, near this will be a link. Check it out. There's a program syllabus, a little more basic overview. We have an FAQ page and tons of stories from our alum. The stories are vast, they're diverse, they show the healing that is possible, the real healing that's possible when we become super duper educated on what our body is, and we learn how to work with it in the context of the current world, and how to work with all the old stuff that pops up when we start connecting to our body and our nervous system and all that good stuff. So check all those things out, and like I said, I'll be back with a little more detailed video on how this actually works. Thanks everyone for being here. We'll see you next time.